In this episode, let's tear down an awesome vintage laser particle counter. This is a vintage laser particle counter that I've picked up off eBay for a teardown. This piece of equipment you would use to measure dust particles in air. So the idea is that if you're running some kind of clean room where, say, you're assembling hard disks or semiconductors or anything else that's sensitive to dust, you would use one of these to count how many dust particles there are per cubic meter or per cubic foot or per cubic litre, who knows, of air, and then you'd be able to determine whether or not your clean room is indeed clean enough. Since this is a laser particle counter and it's vintage, there's bound to be some juicy goodies inside, but let's first look at the outside of the case, the front panel, the side and the back panel. So this is the front panel. We've got a few bits and pieces on here. We've got a nice main switch. We've got a gas flow meter here. We've got a little voltmeter here. I've no idea what it's for, but it measures from 0 to 10 volts. Quite nice. We've got a little printer down at the bottom, which I suspect might be a thermal printer. We've got an LCD display, and then we've got this row of toggle switches. The first two I've determined by previously powering this thing on for actually setting things like the date and time on the system. We've got an alarm switch that we can toggle on and off, and the idea behind this is if we've got an upper limit for a particle count, we can have it so it sounds the alarm if the particle count goes above that. We can switch the printer on and off, and then we've got choices of how we want the system to run, so we can run it continuously or a single cycle, and then we've got a sample start and end button, and that's pretty much it as far as the toggle switches are concerned. Looking at the rest of the front panel, this whole thing incidentally is aluminium. The whole thing is extruded aluminium. It's a really good solid case. I really do love the font over here. This is so 80s. Kind of reminds me of the font from the Terminator. Very, very nice. So this is the side of the case here, and we've got an air inlet. This is where it will draw air in from your clean area in order to measure it. And I really do like this feature either side. They've got a couple of aluminium handles so they can't bump the thing and damage it. So we're looking at the rear of the unit here, and we've got a little plate on the back. So it says Particle Measuring Systems Incorporated, Boulder, Colorado, USA, 1987 vintage. And we've got a measuring range as well. So we can see that we're measuring from 0.3 to 5.0 microns. So that's the size of the particulates that this thing is capable of measuring. We've got a little compliance notice on the back there because it does contain a laser. We've got an odd switch, no idea what that does. Can't find a manual for this thing, incidentally. We've got 3 BNCs, we've got a test, we've got DAC, we've got an external alarm, we've got the internal alarm, little fan, we've got RS-232 out and analog, and of course a main socket. So although this is 1987 vintage, this thing will actually turn on without exploding. What I've done here is disable the internal pump because it's just too noisy, I wouldn't be able to speak above it. So we'll just turn it on as is and watch it do its stuff. So we're powered up, we've got a little firmware notification there, printer lights are on, and then we've got 3 columns of data in the LCD. I imagine that the first column is going to be for the 0.3 micron dust particle sizes, the third column is going to be for 5 micron, and then this one is going to be somewhere in between. I think internally this thing does binning, so it does pulse height analysis on the dust particles it detects and works out what size they are and prints them off on the readout there. Evidently it's very dusty in here. All that's running in here is the internal fan, but it's probably enough to drag dust particles through the laser beam and actually count them. Absolutely fantastic. So I've got the lid taken off here, and this thing is an absolute goldmine of stuff, it has to be said. I'm just going to go over the main parts real quick, and then we'll start tearing this thing down and look at things individually. In the middle here we've got a rotary vane pump, and this is what's responsible for dragging air through the particle counter head. This has got a couple of air filters connected to it, presumably to get rid of small particulates. We've got the laser particle counter assembly itself on the right hand side here. On the left we've got the computer, and we've got a brick power supply, and then at the back here we've got a nice big mains transformer, a little fan. There's a high voltage power supply right down in the bottom there for the laser, and then we've got the rear of the front panel. Before I start stripping this thing, I want to show you what happens when you turn it on with the cover off, because down in the bottom here we can see some laser goodness. If I just move this filter out of the way, we can see the glass envelope of the laser tube right down there. And if I turn it on, we'll have to wait a couple of seconds. There it goes. So the laser in this thing actually works. Absolutely fantastic. So we'll start by pulling these boards out and we'll see what's on them. So this appears to be some kind of acquisition board. We've got 4 Misc PIOs in here. These are Z80 PIOs, so obviously this is a Z80 system. We've got an M5832 real-time clock calendar down at the bottom there, and a little one of those quartz crystals that you find in digital watches. To drive it, that'll be 32 odd kilohertz, I think, if memory serves. And then we've got these interesting packages over the right-hand side. The bottom one is clearly an ADC. The top package, this very, very large one, is something that you would buy with the ADC. This is the actual analog input section, and then this is the ADC that goes with it. So if you check out the data sheet for these, you would actually buy these things as a pair. This is the CPU board. We've got a Misc branded Z80 CPU, we've got the Z80 CTC, and then we've got the SIO. So we've got almost the entire Z80 chipset in here. Absolutely fantastic. We've got a couple of 2732 4K EPROMs. We've got some RAM. Just looking at the pin count, it might be 2 or 4K. We've got some pals and gals all over the board. Very, very nice. We've got some interesting stuff going on up here. We've got some little wire wrap connections, and it looks like the factory configures these boards depending on what it is that you want this piece of kit to do. So that's kind of neat. Very, very interesting. This is the last board I can pull out of the cage without cracking out the screwdriver and the spanners. So let's take a look at this. This appears to be the amplifier board. So up the top left here is a ribbon cable that goes off to the laser particle counter itself. So this will be for the photodiodes. We've got a bunch of op amps on here and a bunch of comparators over this side. The op amps, I believe, were really quite expensive back in the day. These were Teledyne Philbrick TP1321s, high bandwidth, high input resistance operational amplifiers. There's a wonderful website that I'll link in down below where someone's taken these and decanned them and stuck them under a microscope so you can take a look at some nice silicon die pictures. On the right hand side here we've got a bunch of LM311 comparators and some other logic and bits and pieces. In order to get at the rest of this, I'm going to have to take this off the bench and crack out the spanners and get this pump out of here. We'll take a look at that. We'll have a look at anything else that we can find in here that might be of interest, and then we'll take a look at the laser system. So I have all of the air management stuff out of the particle counter. We've got a nice little 110 volt rotary vane pump. Interestingly, according to the instructions on the pump, you've not to oil this. I suppose the idea is that, you know, if we had things like oil inside of the chamber, it would be spraying oil vapor all over the place. And if you're running a clean room, obviously that's not a good idea. There's some nice little fittings on here. We've got a nice little needle valve. We've got a couple of filters. These are actually all collapsing. In fact, all of the plastic in this is falling to bits. This is the plastic hose, and it just crumbles. So, you know, it's obviously very, very old, and whatever plasticizers they've had in there have long since evaporated. Yeah, they've got an interesting filter here that says on the side, warning, this is not a blood filter. I'll try and bear that in mind if I intend to use it for anything else. And then I've got myself a nice little flow meter, which might well come in handy in the future. So now I've got the pump out, we can actually get at this board. This is actually mounted on the side of the cage here. This thing's actually hinged, but it won't stay up, so I've just propped it up with a vacuum pump that I had lying around on my bench. Yeah, there's a couple of interesting things on here. There's a P8031AH. This is an 8-bit microcontroller manufactured by AMD, but copyright Intel. So evidently Intel developed it and licensed the design out to AMD. And then we've got programmable I/O down at the bottom here. This is a P8255A, and it looks like we've got an EPROM and some other little bits of logic kicking around on here as well. So I'm going to take this thing back off the bench just now and snip off all of these tie wraps and disassemble it a little bit further. I'm going to have to be careful at this point. There's some important pieces on here that are necessary for the correct running of this laser assembly. So I'm going to test all of these things and you know, figure out what voltages are required and what signals are required in order to drive the laser correctly. So I've stripped everything out that's not related to powering the laser. So I've got a nice little LCD, I've got some BNC connectors, they're always worth saving. Nice little bank of toggle switches, that nice meter. I've actually cracked one of the lugs taking it out. The plastic's quite fragile, but yeah, it's good enough. It'll maybe come in handy for a project. And then I've got this thermal printer, which, well, I'm not sure this will be any use, but I'll throw it in the parts bin anyway. Maybe there's something in there that I can use in a future project. So I'll take a look at the laser assembly just now. The laser that's in this is actually very, very special. So special, in fact, that it's going to get an episode all of its own that follows on from this one. So don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the notification for that. Very simply, we've got Helium-Neon laser that's mounted onto an optical block, and at the far end there's a mirror. and the beam from the helium-neon laser hits the far end mirror and bounces back in on itself, which is a very strange thing to want to do with a helium-neon laser, but again, the details of that will be in the follow-up video. In short, what happens is air is dragged through the cavity, and any dust that's in there will cause light to be scattered off, and it's picked up by a photodiode assembly at the top here. We'll pop the cover off of this and see if we can look down into the cavity. So I've popped the cover off here and we can see we have a PCB inside. We've got a couple of what look like op amps for a preamplifier. And if we pull this thing off and turn it upside down, we can see a very, very nice large photodiode in there. So this is a view looking down into the cavity, and down in the bottom there we can see a flat nozzle that's used for admitting air into the cavity. I've wafted some smoke in the cavity, so we'll just turn the laser on and see what happens. Absolutely fantastic. We can clearly see the laser beam being scattered off all of the smoke particles in there. The optical system in here is really quite fascinating. We've got a couple of parabolic mirrors in here with holes in, and the laser beam is actually at the focal point of the optical assembly. And what this means is that it will project a virtual image of the laser beam onto the surface of the photodiode. So if I take a ground glass plate and hold it at the focal plane of the system here, we can see that we get a really nice projected image on the back of the plate. Really, really nice. To get the mirrors out, I can just attach a couple of bits of blue tack to the back surface of the mirror and lift it out. Very, very nice. I have the bottom parabolic reflector out just now, and we can see the laser beam in all of its glory. Beautiful. What we're looking at the moment is the laser beam just being scattered off of dust particles in the air. So we'll just take a look at the components in the cavity real quick. We've got a flat nozzle down here that admits air from the environment that you're testing, and that air is dragged across the laser beam. We've got two other components here. These are to protect the optics. The idea is that we're also pressurizing this cavity with fresh clean air that's been filtered, and that air is blasted out this way into the main area of the cavity and dragged out along with the rest of the stuff. The idea is that if we've got positive pressure here, then dust can't make its way into the optics and ruin them. Because everyone loves laser beams so much, let's blow some smoke into the cavity. Absolutely fantastic. This beam, incidentally, is far brighter than anything you would ordinarily expect out of a helium-neon laser, and I'll get into exactly why that is in the follow-up episode. That's it for this video. As always, a huge thank you to my awesome Patreons, channel donators and subscribers. Your support makes science and engineering videos like this possible.